Let me just make an announcement concerning tonight's activities. At the end of today's activities, buses will depart the lobby area downstairs to the Rose Hall Great House for our Jamaica Night celebrations. And so the buses will be departing around about, say, 6:30 in order for us to begin the activity at about 7 o'clock. And so at the end of the Jamaica Night celebrations, persons will be dropped off at the recommended conference hotels, and so all other persons will make their way back here at the Hyatt. Hope that's clear. All right, so we're on to session 6, or keynote session, empowering women and girls through ICTs. And our keynote speaker for the afternoon is Miss Bridget Lewis, co-founder of She Leads IT Canada. Bridget Lewis is a creative thinker and leader, keenly focused on social entrepreneurship. In 2017, she co-founded She Leads IT, a social enterprise focused on unlocking economic opportunities for women and girls for thriving positive changes in their lives and communities. As a senior finance and intellectual property and technology law professional with over 20 years of expertise, she has worked with large multinational financial corporations in local and global markets to deliver competitively advantageous business results. She has led strategy and business development for wealth management businesses in the Caribbean, Central and South America, Canada, and also businesses in the USA. Bridget has an honors Bachelor's of Science degree in Economics and Management, and a Master's of Law degree in Technology and Intellectual Property Law with distinction. Since 2016, she's been using her skills in finance, business, and intellectual property law to support women-owned business to compete more effectively in the global marketplace and achieve greater gender economic parity. She launched an innovative initiative in the Caribbean for girls in technology in celebration of the ITU's Girls in ICT Day, and has served as advisor to Ghana's National Board for Small-Scale Industries for Women and Economic Empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome for our keynote address, Miss Bridget Lewis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know this is a daunting task to be speaking after lunch, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So my topic today is all about empowering women and girls through ICTs. I'm sure most of you will remember a time when we could refer to technology as a sector or an industry, something that we could do without, or maybe not, that we could choose to interact with, or maybe not. Who remembers these days? The brick. How many people do you think could do without these today? Technology has transformed how we access products and services today. Many tech pundits are forecasting that we are on the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution. An era where society will have no option but to navigate a new smart world where terms like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, blockchain will become everyday jargon. Technology is in fact everywhere. It's ubiquitous, and it has literally evolved from segmentation to integration. Information and communication technology is considered the engine of socioeconomic growth and development. ICTs will be literally at the core of agility and innovation for the workforce of today and the future. ICTs will be required to ensure that the solutions that are created are best suited for sustainable development. So, my question is, who do you think is creating the ICT solutions? Raise your hand if you saw someone who looks like this. Any hands? You can be truthful. This is a no judgment space. Thank you. Raise your hand if you saw somebody who looked like this. The proverbial techie in a hoodie. Now raise your hand if you saw someone who looks like this. Okay, not bad. Usually I get very few people raising their hand for this image. Globally, women make up 40% of the workforce. 40. But only 1 in 4 ICT jobs are held by women, 25%. And this disparity becomes even more pronounced with seniority. According to recent research, only 6% of app developers are women, and under 6% of software developers identify as women. So, a natural question that one would ask is, well, why do we need more women in ICT? Why can't the men do all of the ICT jobs? Well, think about it. Technology is being used to make life-changing advances in areas like medicine, the design of smart cities, self-driving cars. If women make up 50% of the population, then we need women at the table when ICT solutions are being designed so that they better reflect the gender makeup of the society that will be using these products and services. Another reason why we need women in ICTs is that companies that engage women in coming up with solutions that better meet the needs of female consumers increase their chance of success by 144%. UNESCO estimates that gender equality in ICT would open up a market of US $50 to $70 billion. Another interesting fact for you. It is estimated that 60% of the jobs of the future will have an ICT component. If women do not have the skills to hold these jobs, then yes, we have greater economic inequality, that's for sure. But we also have a shortfall in the number of skilled professionals required to fill upcoming jobs. So what happens to society in general? Poverty goes down, GDP goes up, and society and families suffer. Not surprisingly, women are not just underrepresented in the workplace. That actually is the case at every stage of the tech journey for women and girls. Globally, only 3% of girls in university choose information and communication technology. 3%. At the University of the West Indies, here in Jamaica, 70% of the university graduating class is female, but only 30% of computer studies graduates are female. It's a complete flip to what pertains for the overall graduating class. Empowering girls and women through information and communication technologies isn't only about social justice. Yes, we all want that. We want to know that we live in a just and fair society where women are given an equal opportunity to thrive. But it's the economically smart thing to do, to have more women and girls in ICT. So if it is the economically smart thing to do, then why do we still have such a wide disparity in the numbers of girls studying and pursuing careers in ICT versus boys? I have 2 words for you, and that's gender bias. Girls and boys receive strong messages from influencers, from childhood to adulthood, that technology is a male domain and females do not belong. Parents teach boys to pull things apart, put them back together. That image will be very familiar to lots of people. It's the juice box and bottle cap truck that all boys are encouraged to build. Girls, on the other hand, are taught to play with dolls and makeup. Teachers encourage boys to take tech subjects, whilst girls are encouraged to choose something softer or a little bit more feminine. So these are some of the subliminal messages that children receive, which becomes ingrained in their psyche and leads them to make decisions about the types of careers and the types of subjects that they want to pursue during their years at school and university. So For the few girls who manage to slip through and actually do pursue studies in ICTs or tech, they then leave university and they have to deal with other influencers in the form of corporate bodies, corporate entities. The research shows that the number one reason why women leave the tech industry is due to a lack of a supportive network of role models and mentors. That's the number one reason why women are leaving the tech industry, because they just don't have a lot of other women that they can actually lean on for support in those difficult times, or just for guidance as to how to navigate a career in tech. There we go, it's a pay thing. Women are paid less for doing the same work. Globally, tech startups pay women anywhere from, please don't fall off of your chairs, 4 to 45% less than men for doing the same job. That one should be very familiar to a lot of women. Women's commitment and capabilities are questioned when they have a child. They have increased family responsibilities, which do not fit neatly in a traditional work schedule. In order to have more women working in ICT, we have to start from the ground, promoting increased engagement in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM subjects. In addition to having more women creating ICTs, we also need to have more women connected to or consuming ICTs. Connection is directly correlated with access. And access is dependent on ability, availability, affordability, the 3 A's. As more and more information, products, and services are moving online, it is critical that women and girls have safe, reliable, and equal access to computers, the internet, and digital skills training. Without these, they will be excluded from critical information available in the modern economy and society, be it educational, financial, medical, information that's relevant to their business and to their employment purposes, or just social media, being connected to what's going on so that you can be aware of all that's happening in cyberspace and how it relates to your business and your ability to be successful. Without these, they will continue to be excluded from many opportunities for social and economic leadership. So, the question I would like to ask is, how can we make a difference for girls and women in ICT? The annual International Girls in ICT Day, launched by the ITU in April of 2011, aims to encourage more girls and women to access technology and consider careers in the technology field. So, myself and my She Leads It co-founder Nicole and another woman consultant, Samantha, we developed an activity for Girls in ICT Day, the Girls in ICT Day Caribbean Hackathon. which allows girls to envision themselves as creators of technology and not just consumers. And that activity works toward achieving the United Nations Special Development Goal number 5, SDG 5. Over the past 2 years, over 800 girls from universities, colleges, and high schools across 5 Caribbean countries have participated in this hackathon, supported by a group of over 100 mentors and tech role models. They use ICTs for creative problem solving on issues that are directly affecting them. And the topics are very closely aligned to the UN SDGs, for example, gender-based violence, cyberbullying, sustainable environmental protection, and climate change. We've had some amazing outcomes from these girls who have participated in the hackathon. They've created mobile apps that combat cyberbullying, that combat gender-based violence. They've created games using gaming techniques and animation to develop awareness about the issue of pollution of our natural water resources. I want to share with you now some of the wow moments from the hackathon. The team that won, one of the university teams that won the hackathon was awarded an internship by a major corporate body. They extended the internship, which was a summer internship, throughout the school year and paid the girls to participate in the internship whilst they were at school. At the end of the internship, they hired one of the girls as a design engineer. Yeah, we thought it was pretty awesome. One of the mobile apps created in Trinidad, the cyberbullying app, was entered in a tech startup competition, Launch Rocket. Now, remember, these are high school girls. They entered with all the other entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs in Trinidad, and they won the competition. They received $10,000 to take the app through the development stage, and that's where they're at now. They're taking it through the development stage. They've registered the IP. They've established an NGO, simply because they were able to be in a space that validated their ability to be creators of technology, as opposed to questioning their ability to be creators of technology. So some of the best practices that I would like to leave with you as it relates to girls and women in ICT are as follows. We need to have unconscious bias training and gender-specific training for all of those influencers in society who still feel that ICTs or technology is really for men. And it's not a judgment. I think it's something that has simply evolved over time. But it's time for us to begin to change that perception. We need to implement workplace initiatives that add value for both men and women, such as flexible working arrangements. We need formal workplace succession planning and mentorship programs for women in tech to provide them with all of the support that their male counterparts receive constantly from men in tech and in leadership roles. We need to build awareness and outreach programs to equip young girls and women with the skills and inspiration needed to pursue a career in STEM. And we need digital skill training programs for those girls who choose not to pursue a career in tech, but who need digital skills in order for them to navigate and grow their businesses in today's world. Those types of initiatives require high levels of engagement and cooperation between multiple stakeholders: government, public and private sector, academia, industry, to ensure we have more girls studying ICT and pursuing careers in ICT. Not just pursuing careers in ICT, but actually staying in ICT. I want to invite you to take a moment and imagine with me a world where boys and girls are brave enough, are bold enough to be anything they want to be, free from bias and boxes. And if you can imagine that, what a wonderful world this would be. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Bridget Lewis, and indeed it was great food for thought as we got a little more concerning empowering women and girls through ICTs. Are there any questions in relation to the presentation?
I actually will be sitting on a panel and going more into the details of the hackathon, talking more about the solutions and all of the different elements. So if there's a question relating to the hackathon, I'm happy to take it during that time.
All right, well, we have a...
Hi, afternoon. Did you select girls who were already exposed to IT or ICT, or was it girls who didn't necessarily have any experience, any exposure? How did you get that first sampling group?
Right. So as you'll see from my topic, it spoke about creation and connection. We recognize that not all girls are going to want to be creating technology, but all girls will need to connect with technology. So how we do this at the hackathon is that we invite the girls who are interested in being the technology creators to be a part of the hackathon team, and then we bring in observers who may not necessarily see themselves as girls in tech from a traditional standpoint, but who are in fact required to be girls in tech simply because we don't have a choice. So the observer girls would be girls who just want to be exposed to what's going on, but do not necessarily see themselves pursuing studies or careers in tech, but want to know what's happening so that they can become aware and get the digital skills training that they're going to need in order for them to navigate this new smart world.
All right, thanks. Let's take another question.
Thank you. Hi, thank you very much for your interesting presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to get clarification on something you said. You said that the reason it was why girls are sort of not there in ICT is because they've been just, it's benign almost. It's not really, there's no reason for it, apart from gender bias and things like that. I can't remember exactly what you said.
What I said is that they have these influencers.
Right.
And the influencers are many and varied, beginning with parents and families that reiterate that message that girls really don't belong in tech.
Right. Okay.
And then it moves on to what happens when they get to school, to high school. Their teachers also send that message, and sometimes it's overt and other times it's not. It's just the way things have been. So teachers sometimes send messages to girls that technology or ICT is not necessarily something that's for them, it's more of a man's domain, and so girls tend to move away from that. And then the final influencer would be corporate bodies, who through their actions reinforce that message.
Right. Okay. Well, I understand, but I don't want to steal my Secretary General's thunder, but historically that really wasn't the case. It's really, I think that's what's happening now, but what has happened historically is that women, and then by extension girls, have actually been pushed out of ICT. And so, you'll see in her presentation later today, her research, which has revealed how many women used to be in ICT compared to men, and that women were meant to be natural computers.
Like NASA.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Right.
But even then, they were like the minority. But today, as I mentioned, we are seeing women being pushed out. So corporate bodies, through their own actions, are marginalizing women because they don't necessarily fit the mold that they've developed for men. So yes, I agree, yes.
All right, we have 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, so Candice John from Trinidad and Tobago, very good presentation.
Thank you.
I was listening to your presentation and I noticed that it wasn't mentioned, but from my observation in Trinidad and Tobago, I am actually an IT instructor. A lot of women are getting into ICT, but the thing is, there's not jobs in Trinidad, and if you get a job, it's not at the level that you studied at.
Absolutely.
Or you're not being paid at that level. So that's a huge barrier. So you find that, and it's not only for women, but it's also for men. So you find that a lot of women, if a guy is going to get so much difficulty getting into the field, they themselves don't want to get into that field. So that is the observation that we see in Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why there are multiple, the effort to have, or what would I say, to get more girls and women involved in ICT requires the engagement of a number of stakeholders. So government, for one, has to recognize that if their broadband capabilities are not where they need to be, then that's going to create an issue for people being able to actually work in technology in any particular area or any particular country. To your point, corporate bodies, you made the point that even men are finding it difficult, so what about the women? What we really want is for that not to be a conversation at all. What we want is what's going on up here. So if I'm up against a man, but what I have here is superior, then there should be no conversation about whether or not the job goes to me or to the man. Because at the end of the day, it's all about ability. And we're trying to move along that spectrum so that the decisions that are being made as it relates to technology, jobs, and who gets those jobs those decisions are being made outside of gender. But that's going to take time because it's a lot of undoing of years, decades of this kind of, thought process where men are the ones who do tech. And if you do tech as a girl, then people start to question your femininity, and there are lots of issues around that. And women become confused in many instances because they don't understand why, because they choose that path, then it should mean that, they're not necessarily as feminine as anyone else who chooses another path.
All right, thanks. Final question.
Yes, hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Donala Collison. I work for the Ministry of Public Telecommunications in Guyana. Last year, we started a program called Guyanese Girls Code. And part of the struggles that I'm having with that program is while it started and there's this big momentum and everyone gets excited about Girls in ICT Day, but how do you keep everyone engaged in this, in making it a long-term project? I mean, we even wanted to start a group of women in technology in Guyana where they would act as, mentors, and again, it just waned, it just fell to the wayside, and it's a constant struggle to keep the people who care about this issue, keep them engaged and keep them, interested and finding fresh ideas, especially if you're talking about doing stuff with young girls. It always has to be innovative, and that's my complete struggle. I have a huge problem with us just showing up at Girls in ICT Day and then nothing else comes from it, and I'm just wondering how it is that you overcome that specific problem.
First up, I just want to acknowledge with you that the struggle is real. Because it is. I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years, and already this year we are making significant changes to our model. For that very reason, we just always have to be thinking about how do we better engage girls, teachers, corporate entities, and have something fresh to offer every single year. So maybe we can have a chat after, because we are thinking about Guyana seriously. We did a tech lab in Guyana last year. Yeah, and then nothing after, right? Yes. Okay, well, we can definitely have a chat after. I'd be happy to speak to you and to give you some insights as to what we're planning to do this year. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We make our way to session 7. So may I ask the panelists to